Everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. I got my buddy Andy to come on and talk about his journey on how he was going through divorce, paying a mortgage to a house he didn't live in, $1,600 a month in child support, and somehow making it happen with just $3,000 he scrounged up. So it's an amazing story. I hope you guys enjoy it. On top of that, this video is not to say investing's for everyone and trading's for everyone, okay? Full disclaimer out there, if you're happy and you have a family and you're making a means of living with the job you have and you're fine, guess what? That's fine too. So this video is not intended to push anyone to do something they don't want to do, don't feel comfortable doing, okay? So I want to go ahead and throw that out there. I really hope you guys enjoy. And hey, let me know what you think and be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. All right. Hey, Andy, thank you for taking time out of your day, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So we'll just get right to it. All right. So I'm just gonna go and ask because you amassed so much, funds last year, due diligence and every form of self-study you did just to amass what you did. You even had a little business, which is cool.
So, yeah, right.
And you got out of it because you had better ventures. So hey man, I'm just gonna get right to it. I know it's kind of a sore subject, but how deep were you in the hole during your divorce, and how much money did you scrounging around daily?
So I was probably total like vehicle, with my truck and credit cards, close to 50,000 in debt with everything, because my truck was upside down because of accidents and everything. Just living the way we did, financially dumb, because I had a wife that, it's an argument. Like, it's give and take, but at the end of the day, I'm using credit cards to make sure food's there, clothes there, whatever. So, but with the income is always as dual income, it wasn't ever a problem because I had a wife that can pick up the slack on the other side,
Gotcha.
The moment I got divorced, those credit card bills were my bills. They were nobody else's bills, So I went and I still had to maintain the mortgage at the house. Like, I'm not divorced. I can't kick her out the house. Like, there's nothing like that. So I could barely afford like a $500 a month room renting for my buddy's house. And I was using credit cards. Like, I couldn't keep up because now I have to pay $700 a month on this credit card, $600 a month on this. And I have 5 kids, so I was paying $1,600 a month already to 2 other kids. And then I'm paying the $1,600 a month mortgage on the house. So, and I'm driving back and forth everywhere to like figure stuff out. Cause I live in Crestview. It's like a 3-hour loop to do everything. And I still had to go play Army. So no, I was just like, man, how could I make money? Like, legally, of course. So I'm sitting there. What's the one thing 7th Group doesn't have? A place to eat, really, that isn't either the chow hall or Subway. And that meal prep stuff, that was easy. Like, I knew how to cook, and just I kind of stumbled into it because a couple of younger guys on the team, they couldn't cook, and they were tired of spending money. And I was just like, hey, $5, I'll make these meals. And then like people heard about it, and I went from like at one point I think I made like 450 meals, something like that, in a weekend.
Man, yeah.
In the kitchen with my kids. So I'd be taking orders, trying to figure out like how to do everything. And that's what I was like, that's where my money came from. Because I was like robbing Peter to pay Paul, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Like using the credit card to buy the ingredients I needed, hoping that I sold enough to cover the expense of the credit card the next month, to like slowly and then inch away like a little bit of a savings, like what I could. So I saved like about $1,000 from there, and then I did my taxes, and I got like $2,000 back. So I had like $3,000 to start with. I'm still like credit card debt. Like, I wasn't paying off my credit card. So, but when I was at home, because the one good thing about being med board is I always just had to go to appointments. So then I always knew, like, the stock market, like, you make money off the stock market, you just have to kind of learn how. And then I had a couple of friends, we talked about it, but nothing crazy. And as an 18 Fox or an analyst, I kind of looked at it as like, that's just trends, really. You just kind of like, what did these nerds do 2 months ago? They're probably gonna do the same thing again. And then it was just like kind of reading the charts, kind of figure out like putting the verbiage into something I understood. Like if you read the books, even in the ones for dummies, is X plus Y equals something crazy, but they're not going to like the squeeze that happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like that's really complicated to explain, right? But then like I just put like, so someone owed the bookie is pretty much what happened. And the bookie doesn't care where you got his shares from. He just wants his shares back. So if you have to pay more to get the shares back, the bookie still wants them back. So you have to keep buying and buying. And if I know that the bookie wants shares from you, why would I give you my shares for less than what I want for them? That's basically like, and then once I started looking at stuff like that, I was like, okay, I kind of understand what the buyers and sellers are doing and kind of like what these candles mean. The candles is probably the hardest thing to understand.
Yeah.
Because the way they fill in and out. But like, if you sit there and watch it, it's just like anything else. You're like, all right, cool. I kind of see what it does. And then once you see it go up and down, you kind of look, oh man, that volume was 1 million yesterday. It's 20 million today, and the price is going up. I should probably buy something now and then wait, because the volume is how many times it exchanges, back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who's buying or selling, but if it's going up and the volume's 10 times normal, it's a pretty safe assumption that people are buying the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So I could probably, and then it was just like little mini goals. Like I only have to make 275 a day to make 6 figures, right? So what I was doing with the little money I had was figuring out which contracts I could buy 4 or 5 of that the delta would be 50 or higher. That way it would only need to go up $1 and I would make my 250 or 300 and I would sell it right away. And then that was it. And then the next day I would have $300 more to play with. And then eventually it stacked up. And I think I went from like 3,000 to about 15 in about a month and a half, 2 months.
Woo.
Like, I mean, then like, he's talking to other people, get a mentor, like people like kind of gearing you in the right direction and like showing you like, hey, yeah, that's kind of what it is. But if you think of it this way, it makes more sense. Like just like that's all it is bouncing ideas off of each other. Because at the end of the day, that's all a stock market is. People are bouncing ideas off each other, and whoever has the best idea is gonna win. So that was like a little system. And then I got lucky with Tesla because that I had 3 contracts that I bought at, I think it was like the strike price was 420. And then I held them until it got up to 986 like a week later, and I sold all 3 for 6 figures. Because it went up $500. But it was it was awesome to see the delta and everything being squeezed at the same time because you saw everything happening as the price was going up. So like, yeah, super, like, was it like skills? Like, yeah, that's going to happen now. No, it was just like an educated guess that, oh, and I created like a targeting cycle for stocks too. So it's like a circle where I show you how to find, fix, search, go all through the whole thing, but with stocks. Like, how do you find the stock? Cool. Let's turn on the TV. GameStop. All right, everyone's talking about GameStop. Now let's look into it. So now how are we going to fix it? So fix it is, how am I going to enter and exit this stock? All right, I need to look back, do a little due diligence. All right, the last 10 times or 10 times these guys met here, the buyers won 8 out of 10 times and it went up. So it's a pretty good assumption that if that pattern continues, the next time the stocks will go up. So I would buy then.
So what would you tell a dude who's just saying, who could be listening and he's like, hey, I want to do what he did because I'm going through a divorce myself. I have 4 to 5 kids, and besides barely making it in credit card debt like you had it, what would you tell him to start? And does it take being an analyst? What kind of mentality do you have to have?
So what I honestly did, because I wasn't a huge reader, I'm like a very visual person, I have to be doing a couple of things at the same time, is I had my projector up watching Fox News or Fox Business or some kind of business channel, doesn't matter where it is, but people are talking about stuff. And just by listening to them, you can understand you might not understand what they're saying, but you hear a word, and I Googled it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, I understand that. And then I would just watch YouTube videos on the same subject, but from like 4 or 5 different people. Because you can teach me how to read a candle. And I'll watch one YouTube video and I'm like, oh, well, that's dumb. I don't understand it. If I've watched you, me, and 10 other people explain the same thing 10 different ways, I just started picking apart. Like, okay, I kind of understand what he's saying. I kind of like what he does. So it was just like, how much YouTube videos can I watch? And I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of cool. Like, you're watching YouTube anyway, you're on your phone. And then I started buying books, like The Options for Dummies. It just how to explain like how the delta, the gamma, the theta, and all that work. And that's how they were able to find that short squeeze on GameStop. Everyone thought it was like this mystical unicorn that some nerds found. It's like, nah, bro, they violated the principles. The gamma's going to explode. They oversold something they didn't have. So once a bunch of people say, all right, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to take money at the bookie. I know you owe the bookie. That's pretty much what they figured out. Like, cool, we're going to make you pay for owning that bookie. That's all it was. That's all that happened. And then they got pissed off behind it. But it is math. That's all it is. You can't do certain things because options, that's another thing you'll realize, that options is complicated, and that's usually what stock prices are based off of. Because all that math and all those numbers that go in there, it's a higher sophisticated trader doing everything. So if they dug deep, looked at the math, like, all right, GameStop, we only need to buy this much to create this much of a squeeze. And then with social media and everything, like, that's another thing people don't understand. Like, you can learn the technical analysis behind it and everything, and then you just gotta watch social media. If I'm driving around a Tesla and so are you and so is everybody else, like, I might buy a Tesla. And then, like, the biggest thing too is learning the difference between investing and trading. Like, I trade. Like, it's not day trading. It's day trading, swing trading, it's trading. I can care less what the company is. I never look, I hardly, or when I, tell people, hey, Apple, I'm buying this. But to me, that's an X. I'm looking at the price, the volume, the technical analysis, and what people are talking about, because I don't want to own 1,000 shares of Apple. I want to turn 100 shares of Apple into an extra $400 and then get rid of Apple because it'll stay stagnant for a little bit, and then find the next company I can make $400 off of tomorrow, because you're not going to make $400 a day off Apple.
Yeah. All this is dangerous. All this is actually dangerous information for, I'm going to say, the hedge funds, because you just broke it down literally to a knuckle dragger level. Hey, man, I did it. You did it while you were in debt and with only $3,000. And look where you got to now. And it's probably going to explode further than where you're at now. But my thing is, and almost to close this combo out, what would you say to a dude going through the same situation you went through? And I'm going to bring up a pretty harsh subject, touchy subject. As you know, you and I both had friends that, took their own lives, recently and in the past, probably for less reasons, but if not financial or divorce. What would you tell to those dudes, or it don't matter, man or woman, that's serving or just not even serving at all? What would you tell them? I get it. You're going through financial issues. You have kids. You can't see them. What would you tell them right now, that if they're going through what you sort of went through, what would you tell them to kind of like tell them, hey, there's other ways?
Just relax.
Yeah.
Just relax. Like, it was shitty. There's like a lot of nights, like I have anxiety and PTSD and everything. Like, they're shitty nights, but then at the end of the day, I was just like, honestly, like, I could live in a trailer, like, on the beach somewhere, as long as I pay. Like, I can buy a $10,000 trailer and live on the beach and be easy. Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be like a glorious lifestyle, but my kids will always be taken care of. They can live in the house, they can do everything, but I just had to figure out what's the minimum I gotta do this week. All right, I gotta pay that credit card off. How can I pay that credit card off? How can I make that $200? And if you just break it down, like, it just adds up, like doubling pennies. You'd be surprised how many people I ask if I'll give you $3 million right now, cash, tax-free, or I'll double a penny for every day for 30 days. What do you want? No one's ever taken the penny. They don't believe me. It's $5.36 million for doubling pennies. The compound effect, that simple Warren Buffett, like, all I gotta do is buy and hold it because I bought value. and that's investing. So if you can do both, figure out a small system where I can invest long term.
Whoa, you there? Oh, there you are.
And short term,
Make money to like fulfill everything else, like you're good. And then you think like 10 years from now, what could I do? All right. Just do that, man. Like, just relax. That's the biggest thing. Like, no one's trying to kill you here except for yourself. That's that's it. No one here is trying to hurt you except for yourself, because what's in your head. But other than that, man, and then all you need is a couple breaks. Like, I don't need to make $20 million. I need to make maybe $250,000 so I can buy a house cash and then get rid of a mortgage payment, because that's a goal. The goal, like, get rid of payments, get rid of stuff that when I'm retired and I have a pension income coming in, that $4,000 isn't going towards mortgage, because I already paid that off. That's $4,000 that you should be able to live off, because you paid your house off, your cars are paid off, your kids are in school, and you're living off 4 G's a month. It doesn't sound a lot, but imagine if you just had $4,000 a month that you can do whatever the hell you want to. That's what it is, and that's what people don't understand. Like, figure out what. So here's what I say. Like, I need to figure out how to make $4,000 a month of passive income to clear 6 figures the rest of my life, because I have pension disability. That's all I need to figure out. That's it. How can I make $4,000 a month in income where I don't need to work? If I can figure that out, I never have to work again. I might not be making millions of dollars, but I'm pretty sure I can live comfortably the rest of my life off 6 figures chilling at my house. So it's all how you put in perspective and break down the little goals, you know? And if you lose money, man. That's what the stock market is. That's what we're doing. But at the end of the day, like, don't put more in there. People say that. Don't, like, that 3,000, if I would have lost that, how worse could it have gotten? You know? Right?
Yeah.
I would just figure something else out. I mean, I got lucky, but it really is just like, and I just do it every day. I wake up, I look at charts. My phone's always with me. Like, it's like I can read charts like the Matrix, I think. Not that I'm super good at it. I'm not like crazy. It's just like, that's how I like looking. I'm like, okay, I can kind of understand it. And the more you can figure out your system, the more money, like, you'll be fine. Make $10 a day. Make 20, then 40, then 100. And like, was it Munger said, the first 100K is the hardest. Everything other that is easy. So we'll see.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing all that. And
yeah, man.
I'd like to have you on here again, maybe on the next short scoop that comes on. We'll talk about.
Yeah, man.
And Ed, thank you again for your time, and you have a good rest of your day. I'll see you in about a year.
Man.
Okay?
Yeah, bro. We'll see you.
All right, take care, man. My man.
I don't do it by the book, no, I do my own thing. That's why every single hook got them singing like me. And I ain't in any rush, cause I'm finally getting paid. Don't believe in any luck, I believe I'm self-made, yeah.